And we're live. And I should have maybe done this on Twitter, but oh well. So, welcome to the Zooming Hoosk podcast, and I'm your host, Dustin the Husky, and we are here live at FurSquared. Oh goodness, 2023, and it's dinosaur themed. So, how about we'll go around the room and introduce ourselves?
I'm Kai.
Mallow.
Jolt.
Woo! And we may have a few more coming in throughout this episode. And as always, we now decide to talk what we want to talk about. Lilia, which actually Lilia Rue's not here in yet. We had a good conversation about a topic, and I think it was either, I don't know if it was like hallucinations or something else. But hallucinations sound really, really fun to talk about because I've been getting quite a few of them lately. And I kind of want to hear everyone's fun hallucinations. So here's mine. Anytime I get sleep deprived, I'm usually going to see like ceiling fans, centipedes crawling on things. That's pretty standard. However, lately it's been getting pretty weird. I've been seeing some really, really tall gray pigeons, giant tall gray pigeons, and turns out they're like parking posts. And then I saw a really, really, really short, wide man taking a squat in someone's front yard. Turns out that was a road sign. So I thought, oh my God, I'm about to lose my mind, but this is the most funniest stuff ever. So after a really, really short, wide, squatting man becoming a road sign was just like, yeah, I need to get more sleep. So has anyone actually seen something that you thought, oh, wow, what is that?
Just like deprived at Walmart, seeing random weird, just like blotches of like black movement. Nothing really in particular, just random like.
Explain, like are we looking like an ink blot?
Out of like Harry Potter, you know, like the black little wispy thing that flies around.
Oh, Dementors?
Yeah, like that.
Oh.
Remember, it was like right before COVID got serious, and I was like staying up all night, and I was going like right before 24-hour Walmarts like ceased to exist, and I remember walking around, and above me, I just see something flying around in the corner of my eye. I'm like, what the hell was that?
I became a wizard today.
It was probably the Walmart Bayou anyway, but yeah.
There we go.
You're a wizard.
Yeah, I sort of see stuff like that where I kind of like see figures or something that aren't usually there. And I thought I saw that on my bus recently, that 2 pigeons flew in my bus and were flying around. And I'm just laughing my ass off because of it. And I had no idea why. And then they asked me why I was laughing so loud one day. And I was like, I don't know.
Who are you talking to?
Who was I exactly talking to, and why was I looking around wildly, looking at gray little pigeons like flying around my bus? Because last time I had a bird on my bus, they asked if it paid a fare, and it was a turkey, and it walked around and it hopped off. I made friends with a turkey one day, and it was the greatest experience of my life that day. I was also like, I'm allowed to go home and I might be able to screw off a bit. Ooh, there's a turkey coming to the door. I'm going to open it up and see what it does. It done a walk.
So it like walked in.
It walked in and then it walked out. It's like, yes. Bus turkey.
Finally got his free
Finally
ride.
got free ride. Didn't go anywhere, but it was all right. Who else has had some really interesting experiences of seeing stuff that you probably didn't think it was, and then like,
So when I was younger, I think it had to be like 2nd, 3rd, maybe at most 4th grade. My parents sent me to like a Christian youth camp kind of thing. That part didn't bother me. The part that did was I forgot sunscreen was a thing and the sun was a thing, and they had a pool.
Oh no.
So I may have gotten like 3rd-degree burns on my back.
So
that was a fun time, especially being on the top bunk. And for that night, it was like, oh, I can't sleep. Every movement hurts. Oh, look out the window! It's a leprechaun. Why are there fireworks? That is like the most vivid memory I have of that little camp. Just being sleep deprived, probably a little bit of pain induced, just leprechauns and fireworks.
That may have been Jesus.
He's kind of tiny.
He's so he's so tiny and Irish, kind of feisty.
A little bit. Goodness.
That is actually pretty. That is. I mean, it sucks without sunscreen because I got burned a few times like that, and it's like, oh my god, please don't touch me. Oh, I have to sit down. Oh.
I was in Mexico not too long ago, and I had a really bad sunburn. And in Mexico, unfortunately, the AC in the hotel wasn't the best, and so I was like, trying to think of like what can I do to cool myself down. I just took like the world's coldest shower. It worked. Like it just cool down your body temperature and your core. And just, it'll help. Or maybe I'm just talking to my butt. I don't know what the heck I do cooling down, but it cooled down something.
I mean, maybe a different. I don't know, because in some cases, cold liquid could definitely soothe pain, but it may not be the best.
I wasn't trying to
Maybe-
soothe the pain. I was trying to get the heat to go away. Pretty much.
Right,
I wasn't
right.
caring about the pain. The pain didn't stop me from sleeping. It was the fact that it was slightly above 66 degrees Fahrenheit.
There we go. I'm actually wondering, should I position the camera so that it fits all of us? I have realized the squirrel is out of view.
I might actually be heading out. I'm getting a little tired.
Oh, okay. Ah,
Also may have had a candy or two, so
ah.
Oh.
special stuff.
Special candy, special
Just
candy.
the squirrels just look at you and just flop.
Pretty much.
It's like, hey man, I got this nut right here, but you know what? Yeah.
What was
It's
I
a
saying?
nut.
That's
Oh, hey, a
Before
nut.
I go, fun story related to that. So my first F2, I kind of ghosted it because I was on a date with some dude down here in Milwaukee. I was like, oh, we'll go to the gardens. Oh, hey, there's actually a con going. Do you know anything about this? He said no, so I took him anyways. Halfway through that con, I got handed a special little cookie.
Did they not tell you this?
Oh no, they told me, and the person who handed it to me was
Oh.
well known to be doing that kind of thing and handing it out. My roommate at the time called me like an hour or two later saying, "Oh yeah, I have to head or stay here for con work, so pick up my shift because we work the same job." I had to, so I had half that cookie before I left the con. I don't know how I was allowed, or well, I know I wasn't supposed to be allowed to drive, but I was. It took me from where the dude was living to the con was maybe 10 minutes. It took me 40 to get there. And then from my job, which was driving more things, a route that should have taken maybe 2 hours to 8, I kept on forgetting stuff in the back of my car, or pulling over to take cat naps, or just dozing off once I park. Or was it a street light?
You were high as hell.
I was like 22. Of course I was. I don't know how I survived.
I don't know how I survived the 90s.
I was a baby.
I wasn't even a thought
He
in
was
the
a
90s.
zygote.
I was 93, so
So then, us not burning our ass on final seat cars in the summer and then freezing our ass on those same seats in the winter.
What about the belt buckle?
The
Hot in the sun.
armrest. The window armrest.
Oh yeah, so then like burning your thigh and ass on a seatbelt
Or
buckle.
the metal keys,
Ooh, and
touching
the
the
metal
keys, and
keys.
it's like
Depending
a
on what
million
kind of car you
degrees.
had, the armrest by the windows was
yeah.
fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Pure fire.
Your grandpa drinking many beers and he's just having a good time. And then you're like, how did we survive the 90s? Well, I don't know how we managed to do that, but we ended up living through that.
Was it your dad or your grandpa that would take you to the Miller Park Stadium, but he'd be driving home drunk or something? Was it your dad or your grandpa or something like that?
I could see my dad driving home drunk. My grandfather, as he calls himself the Grand Peen. Yeah, that's a title that he's given himself,
Okay.
and it's pretty wild. So my dad would obviously just be annoyingly drunk. To then I would say, "Hey, I should be driving." Oh, don't tell me what to do. And then my grandpa is like kind of like maybe the Chad of like drinking, because you don't actually realize he's had like 6 beers, but he holds it incredibly well, or he doesn't, and he just doesn't look drunk, sound drunk, or do drunk.
Dude,
But he just kind of like just drives around like, "Hey, you want some ice cream?" Like, "Oh, sure," and just go over a curb and such.
Oh,
But it's
grandpa.
interesting how we like all survived the '90s. It's like
Well, if you were-
everybody was smoking, and you were putting your buckle on when you drive, or taking in the booze while you drive, and
there
then
was
a police officer will pull you over and he'll give you a warning for speeding, but he doesn't care anything about the
open bottle of booze.
the open bottle of booze and not wearing a belt.
I watched a video on YouTube of people reacting to when they banned driving with alcohol in the car, and it was like people thought it was the most unconstitutional thing in the world. It was like, this is against our rights. It's like, okay.
That's absolutely hilarious.
That is great.
To think that people at one point thought, "Oh no, how could this be? We can't.
They also
We
said
cannot go around without our driving PBR.
They also
We
said,
can't allow this."
I mean, hey, people also protest like electricity. So,
And
at the time, I'm sure it might have made sense.
All right, sounds good. Have a good evening.
Beautiful.
So it's interesting how we all kind of like survived the '90s, where all the other like dangerous stuff that goes on, like playground equipment, is just dangerous. Maybe. Or, I mean, like I somehow survived. I didn't know.
I remember getting hurt a lot on it in elementary school. Oh my god, yeah, it was ridiculous.
How'd you get hurt?
Falling off of it, knocking my lung, knocking the air out of my
Okay.
lungs all the time. Like I don't know, maybe I was just a clumsy kid, but I remember getting hurt on the jungle gym.
I do remember a lot of us falling off of that stuff too.
Like I remember specifically there was these 2 like gymnastic bars, and there was like a few sets of them. Each one was higher than the other, but it was like 2 swing and do like really weird like acrobatic like things on them. And I remember people just because they were like
on it.
there was like 1, 2, and then 4 feet 1, 2, and people would swing, and then eventually some kid would go too far and crack his head on one of the bars.
Yeah, we had that happen once to a playground, but they didn't do anything oddly about it.
Oh no, they completely changed how the playground looked.
Oh, really?
If you go, I went back to my elementary school just to see what it looked like. It's completely different than
We
how it
gotta
looked.
save the kids.
Yeah.
They're all falling off and they're all splitting their heads open.
Well, it was really weird because there was like a whole part of my school on the other side of the playground where it was like a junkyard. So like, God forbid, like 10 kids went over there and just started playing on like the equipment.
Oh wow, that
Because
would
you could
be
literally
so
see
fun.
it. You could literally see like the entire junkyard. It had like scrap metal just everywhere. It literally reminds me of like the most Wisconsin type of like school in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
And so it's also next to a junkyard, and the kids are like all watching stuff getting crushed.
That's exactly what
Kids,
we
you
did.
should all be
we would watch-
playing.
we would-
No, we're gonna be seeing stuff get crushed.
Exactly.
Like a can.
We'd sit on top of the slides and just watch the trucks move from one side to the other.
Speaking of like playground equipment and jumping off by accident, I knew only one kid named Jeremy. Oh goodness. Who purposely jumped off the tall slide from the top and then landed on his feet. But then landed in a way that he didn't break his ankles or directly inject his pelvis into himself. But he managed to always stick the landing every single time. And I was like, hey, what you doing? It's like, oh, it's kind of fun.
Seeing people jump
Seeing
who are a
people
little
jump
bit younger
off
than me
a
jumping off
story.
of and like they just like land on their knee and like do little like oh, ooh,
That stuff is hard to watch.
my
but
back. It just hurts watching it.
every single time that he did that, he would always stick the landing. And it was like, never really a problem. But it always would terrify me anytime he do it because he do it by surprise and he knew that I didn't like doing that. Or I did not like watching him doing that. So he would jump off the slide anywhere I was near it just to annoy me. Just Jeremy, I don't know where you are, but people worry about you.
We're worried,
And then
Jeremy.
jumping off of really tall slides and sticking the landing every time. And then doing it to just annoy us because you know that you can do it. And most of all the others that tried to just kind of biff it. And I don't think many people actually broke anything doing that, but I saw someone broke their arm while climbing up, like, look, it's pretty much like the grab bars and kind of go up before you get onto the jungle gym. And he was on the last one and he lost his grip and he fell and landed on his arm. But that's like 4 feet off the ground. But then all the kids that were jumping off the tall slide, that's like 15, 20 feet off the ground or bouncing like jelly beans.
How do you
and
break your arm
I-
off of a 4-foot fall?
I'm not sure, but he landed on it just right
Ooh.
to break it. But all
So you're
these
saying
guys,
if I'm like walking down the street and I trip and I like put my arm out the wrong way, there's a very high possibility of breaking it.
I know that if you use your hand to catch your fall, you have a good chance of like shattering the little tiny like wrist bones.
Oh,
That they just kind of break, just because the ankle and the wrist are like the weakest parts physically in the human body, just because of the little tiny bones and just how it just kind of. Oh, I just realized he passed out.
oh, he's
Oh,
been
but-
asleep for a good few minutes.
Oh, so I had my French grandma who was like going to get groceries. So 85-year-old grandma, and almost like the French babushka type. She's just really, really large, very, very friendly, but just giant.
Does she have the
woman.
head wrap?
She does, yes. Yeah, she actually wore that too. And she would
Bless
go
her.
to the store, and when
Bless her.
she was going up the steps, and she walked like any other person, and she was like 84, and she just walked just fine. Then she misplaced her step, and she caught herself with her hands. She's a big woman. She went on her day like nothing else happened. She got groceries. Her hands hurt. She takes the bus home, carrying big, giant, heavy bags of groceries. Her hands hurt. She don't know why. She doesn't see anything different. Then she goes home and we might just be locked in. Oh, we may have locked someone out. Hold on. Hello.
The door was locked.
Oh no.
I was retrying to lock it. I think the lock's broken.
It's almost like a Renaissance or something.
Oh, someone drew that.
That's cute.
Okay. Yeah, the lock on that door is broke, so you can't
We're
unlock it.
locked.
It's like permanently locked.
Nice.
Huh? No, I didn't see her out there.
Okay.
You know,
She-
we were just out there talking.
I think she just went to bed.
Well,
But
no,
that's all right.
She's kind of, we're taking her home, so
Yeah, she doesn't have a
Oh.
ride home.
Oh God.
we are her ride home. So what were you
So-
talking about?
We were talking about kids doing jumps off the tallest slide
Oh,
in the jungle gym.
She's getting food.
Oh, cool. Okay. I was like worried, like
Yeah, I was
she's
a little bit
probably
worried
passed
about
out
that.
somewhere.
Doesn't matter. Anyway.
So then the first subject was talking about hallucinating some really funny stuff, and then how we survived the 90s and how playground equipment of our time probably hurt more kids more often than it probably should have.
They had a thing that we had a jungle gym type thing called the Spider.
Oh, the spider. Oh,
And I
the
remember
spider
that
was
thing
fun.
got taken down within like the first 2 years of it getting put up.
Because I'm sure
People
kids
kept
were
on
like
falling in
falling,
love with it, yeah.
and they're
Falling.
doing like a rubber band effect, so they're like, don't, and they fall down.
Well, the spider was more of like imagine like a spider's web, but like blown up into the air like a dome. So like it's like a bunch of like
Oh,
bars
that type.
crossing each other.
That, so it's kind of like hexagons and
Yes.
tubes, and you climb up. Okay, that, yeah. We had those. The spider that we had was like a cable system
Mhm.
that just formed into like a tower. And
Oh,
kids
okay.
would just climb up on it. And
Oh yeah.
the kids and the inner tubes, because they were also like like cabled up as well because it's part of the structure.
Mhm.
Sometimes I would see a kid slip and biff. Then he kind of like wobbles right down the corridors and all these other little things that like form shapes in this like wire system.
Mhm.
So then you would see ragdoll physics be applied in real life. And I felt so bad for the kid. It's like, oh no, it's Jimmy. He's such a good guy. But oh my God, this is funny. I'm going to try not to laugh. Because I like Jimmy. But oh my God, Jimmy would be pretty pissed off if it was laughing about his ragdoll physics effect, which was perfect form.
It would be so awesome if we could like record things that have happened in our
In our
life
past.
and then just like shoot it into like a camera, like a TV screen or something. You know what I mean?
So I like the concept. You got promoted and they're already in production.
Yay!
What do we call it?
Braincast.
Braincast. Okay, I
Or
like
I don't know,
that.
Thoughtcast, or I don't know, because we can look at it. You know how on YouTube you can hook your phone up to the TV. Like if you have a smart TV, you can connect it to. You like just connecting your brain to the TV and just kind of playing whatever you think of in your head onto the television. So if you thought really hard, you could probably project something on the TV that you saw as a child, or like a memory or something.
All right, so now we got the thing called Braincast. Now it's got to have a really, really, really strange slogan. Braincast. From the tubes in your mind. Or something like that.
From your connecting neurons to our. I don't know.
from our connecting neurons, or no, from your connecting neurons to our CRT tube. Or cathode ray.
Can we
cathode
have
ray.
David Attenborough be our he's the one
That does
narrating the commercial? Like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
That would be funny. That would be funny.
The neuron in the brain is the most powerful. I don't know. But yeah.
You can now watch things of your past, make it onto DVDs, and sell them on an Amazon account already created for you. That would be.
Could you imagine selling your thoughts as like a? It would really be really weird.
I'd be okay. Now we're gonna go off on the subject now. Okay, so I would be selling thoughts that are like absolutely weird and absolutely stupid. It's gonna be like clouded off, so when you like look at it, you don't know what's going on.
But do you think there'd be a whole new currency made up for it? Because no way anybody's paying $1 for some like absolutely useless thought. It'd be like a half of a cent or something like that. So it'd be like a whole new. No, absolutely not.
I'm saying like it'd be a new thing. Like that was.
Yeah, a new thing that isn't hated by the masses.
But I would like say something like you would see like a random stupid dumb thought that at the very end you're gonna be laughing anyway.
Could you imagine like upvoting it or downvoting it and dependent on like what? Or no, here it's gonna get even worse. Like it uploads thoughts to like a worldwide web, and like you could just go and just like type in someone's name and just their
Right.
thoughts pop up.
His
You
Johnny's thoughts.
it's like a really bad social credit thing.
Johnny's thoughts suck, and it's like a list of like bad comments.
Like I'm gonna Google my neighbor and it's just like thought or what do you call this brain wave? What do we?
What do
I
we
don't
call it?
remember.
Brain waves or something.
Braincast.
There
Yeah.
you go.
You like just Google your neighbor on Braincast and he's just like some absolute like serial killer.
Oh, so it's like Brain. Oh my God, Brain Livecast. That's a separate subscription service.
Everybody has their own like Truman Show.
Yes. Just have like the weird random thoughts of people of the day.
Oh,
And
he's
I
like,
get the banana
it's
or
like
the
Kylie
orange.
Schneider says, like
Yeah.
Kylie Schneider sitting in her room at 1:33 a.m. says, "Man, my bed's pretty uncomfortable." Said like,
I wanna.
Tammy didn't know.
Well, she messaged me saying that she would.
Well, she did. Maybe she did, but she left. Like she did, she didn't want to wait, so she had her parents come get her.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So they usually get food, but she's gone now.
Okay. What were you saying?
So then it's Brave Livecast.
Mm.
Just like watching or listening, watching and listening to people's thoughts of just the most surreal thing. Should be buying Jello as he picks up like a dozen eggs at a gas station, and there's no Jello in sight. And then you look for Jello, it's like, wow, this is just all dumb. Now it's just made me hungry. Now I want Jello.
What kind of
like-
Jello though?
What's that?
What kind of Jello though? Like what flavor?
Strawberry.
I don't even.
No. The cherry.
Okay. I didn't even think they made strawberry flavored Jello.
That's what I was actually thinking. I was
Like,
thinking
really?
of cherry, and for some reason I said strawberry.
Probably have to choose apple.
Apple.
Anybody else? I'm gonna say like grape, but I think that's just based off the color of your hood.
Probably. Let's see. So we got Braincast, and it's a product, or it's a already produced product,
Yep.
and then we have a slogan of "It goes in your mind and it makes you money," something like that.
But can we run it like an OnlyFans?
OnlyFans Braincast. Oh, so at
It's
that
like you
point,
pay for like
you're gonna have to
people's
pay a
thoughts.
lot of money for that kind of thought.
Yeah, like the more popular you are, I guess you'd be like you want to I don't know, like what's some like really famous person, I guess anybody you really like, just have that person. It's kind of like what's that thing where you can like pay for someone to like send you like a happy birthday video.
Oh yeah, so it's like asking like Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah,
or
to,
like
say it, yeah,
Sylvester Stallone
right,
in his beautiful broken nose, just to like give you like happy birthday, that
right.
kind of
But it's
thing.
just like every couple seconds a new thought
Right.
pops up. It's like because
Oh my god, that'd be like someone who really really likes an actor,
Mhm.
and you like subscribe to them, and then all it's like happy birthday Jimmy, happy birthday Tom, happy birthday Joe,
Right.
something like that, or it's like now you're just hearing it like, these are a lot of people. I don't know. That would be, I don't know, that'd be pretty interesting. Braincast. This plug is going in your mind.
What if we would have to make something probably to like put your thoughts out there? It's like what if it's like kind of like something like a cochlear implant, where it's like a thing that goes around your ear and then like magnetizes itself.
Oh, okay. Or I guess like we could probably do like something like that.
Yeah, but like people because like I don't want a microchip. I just want something that I can like slap on the side of my head. It's like magnet and just like take it off if I don't want everybody reading my thoughts.
No, that's actually pretty smart. That actually works out pretty good.
Because then you could like I guess upload them when you wanted to and guess like I don't know.
I'm gonna make a video of me making a tuna sandwich, and the thoughts are nothing about a tuna sandwich.
She'd be like tuna sandwich. A few seconds later, tuna sandwich. Tuna sandwich.
And probably making eggs or something like that. Beautiful things.
I'm trying to like pinpoint the music they're playing with some of the songs. I just can't tell.
It kind of reminds me of high school. Just high school band.
I can't
And
believe
they
they're doing
play
this
incredibly
really-
good. And I don't know if
almost
the
like-
audience can hear that across the room in another panel room is orchestra first.
I think it's like a band preparing for something.
Wait, are they even actually related to
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, it's like called like Otter. I don't even know. I read the panel name earlier.
Yeah, it's like Otter Chaos. They're doing
Otter
like
Chaos.
I'm trying to find
It's
the
like a
name.
rehearsal. I think it's called Otter Chaos Rehearsal or something.
I think it's actually really cool. It's like having panels that are like totally obscure.
Right.
That's pretty cool. That's the first time I've um, ever really seen, or of course even hear, because you can still hear it.
Mhm.
Having an orchestra band play at a furry convention played by furries. And the thing that gets me that's fantastic is I don't know how long ago they've been in high school, but it's like one of those things that once you learn certain instruments, you still somewhat know, but you get rusty over time. But it sounds like they've been playing quite some time, almost together.
Yeah, they're doing way better now than they were maybe like 30 minutes ago. When,
Oh, yeah.
Before you came in and when we first came down, it was kind of like, are those just a bunch of random furries that just happened to bring their instruments together in
Yeah,
one
that's
room?
what I
That's what
think
it
too.
sounded
Maybe
like.
it was, and they're just slowly starting to sync up.
Yeah, it's actually gotten a lot better. It's actually once you kind of like get used to it, kind of tunes out, but it's like a good kind of tune out. Like,
Right,
You
just
know what? This
that it's
actually
like-
sounds good.
Perfect background music.
Exactly. And then you just kind of like go along with it. So I see a suit head. And tell me more about the suit.
Now, Kai is, what year is it? 2023. So he's probably just about 10 years old, if not older. He
Okay.
was, we got him from a local fur that was selling him. And apparently he's had a few owners that have either lived here in the state or have moved to like Illinois or Iowa or somewhere around.
And the suit just kind of like finds its way.
Yeah,
around.
there's been like through Bark, or I know that used to be an app, like the furry hookup sites, like Bark, or what's the other one that was really popular?
Well, Bark is still a thing. The one before it was.
Yeah. Howler.
Howler.
Yeah, like I would get messages from people being like, "Oh, this suit's still around. That's really awesome." So yeah, and apparently it was made by like two fursuit companies just coming together and making something. That's what we were told.
No, I thought it was. We have narrowed it down to two, and it was one
Oh, okay.
of the
Well,
two.
okay, that could have been it too. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's a combination between the two. You know, it's kind of hard to figure out the exact roots of a.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually pretty rare to actually see or to know about the history of a used suit. Because most suits that are out there tend to be those that custom order a suit. And
Right.
They tend to really keep it for life.
Right.
For whatever intents and purposes if they decommission it in a way and such. But with there's a unique history with used suits because they travel from one owner to another. So they kind of like pass around in a bit. And
Yeah.
I think it's pretty neat to actually have somewhat of a history about the suit.
Right.
Maybe a few people along the way or who made it because it's almost like a mystery.
Well, I've had one significant person, not significant, specific person that has messaged me a bunch of times, and every single time I message them about the ownership of the suit, like wanting to see
Yeah.
photos from it from cons like years ago, they just kind of ghost me.
Cool.
So if anybody here has seen the suit before and knows information on it regarding the ownership of 5 years ago, it'd be really interesting to know if anybody might.
Maybe more than 5 years
I mean-
ago, because I think Cecil's had it at that point.
Oh, maybe 6 years ago.
It is actually pretty fascinating that with the history of used suits, they do have like a collector value where they pass around with different hands and it almost becomes a thing of, something that you look forward to own to say you've owned it for a while and then you pass it to the next person.
But I just kind of think because this has had more than 2 owners, so I'd like to somebody who's like, oh, I had this suit back in like 2008, like that
And they talk like it's a
yeah
like it's an old car
artifact,
or
yeah.
a truck. It's like, oh yeah, that there's
I wore that suit back in Aftercon of 08, like
Oh yeah, there's gonna be furs that are gonna be talking like that in like 30, 40 years.
goodness, that's gonna be us.
That will be us.
FurSquared 2023.
Oh yes.
It was
so
the dinosaur, I believe. I believe it was the dinosaur.
It was a good theme. There was not so much vomit. Everybody was having a good time, except that one person that did get EMS.
Did you see them?
No, but apparently there was a picture online of someone being carried out.
Oh
They
my
were-
God! What?
They were actually conscious. I
Oh,
think it was
thank
maybe an
God.
alcohol,
Yeah,
too
because we
much.
saw them come in. It was a fire truck, like the full fire truck crew, the full ambulance crew, and a cop. So they sent everybody. So somebody's not having.
Oh, there was a cop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that's just because like
I think it's standard.
even when I called 911 when I passed out in my apartment, and they sent the cop only because they just for some reason in Beaver Dam they couldn't allow the
So
Maybe it's like a
the
safety thing.
the garage door.
Oh.
The garage door was closed and not locked, and they were like, "Can you get to the door?" And I was like, "No, I'm passing out on the floor." And like, "Okay, we'll just send a cop to unlock it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
yeah, stuff like that. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. Oh,
Maybe we'll just check that out.
You don't know what time it is?
Oh, I'm trying to.
I'm not too sure, but I do want to talk about one suit that I wore once
Okay.
back 10 years ago. Actually, 11 years ago, around this time. I got to wear what was locally called the creepy fox suit. And this was the very first suit I've ever got to wear.
Is it an orange fox?
It was an orange fox. And I wore it for the first time at Laugh Bowling. And it was the first time
That old?
when it was called Laugh.
Yeah.
Then I found out more about the history of the suit years later because it's traveled many
Wasn't
names.
Isn't it owned by a local for in Waukesha now?
If it is, I'd like to see it one day. Apparently, it was made back in the early 90s.
Oh.
So it was one of the oldest suits that I've ever worn because it was older than me. And it was made by a defunct fursuit maker who had passed away.
What does it mean to be a defunct fursuit maker?
I guess just, a fursuit maker that just stopped making
Oh, that's
suits for
okay.
at least the idea that they couldn't do it anymore.
Right.
And the person who was running it just somehow passed away in 98. So a lot of these pre-existing suits that have existed since for his time, he was a well-known fursuit maker. So a lot of these suits got treasured like gold. And the suits would travel hands throughout this time, and they go through several revisions along the way. So each owner does their own little fling to it.
Oh, okay.
And
It's a little bit different. In something.
Maybe made in 91 or 92. And it's still around to this day doing some form of duty of fursuit wearing. And I found a picture of that suit in its early days at Anthrocon 2000.
Oh wow! Oh jeez.
So it's like, oh my God, I didn't think that one day I'd be wearing that suit. And then if I find another picture of a suit in the 90s, I'm going to okay, now this is when it was really, really brand spanking new. For the few conventions that were out there, there wasn't many outings you could take one in.
You can go on Google and actually type in FurCons and when they became a thing, and someone has compiled a bunch of information and has a map and we'll fast forward through every year and we'll add a new dot to where a FurCon has been on the map of America. It's actually more filled up than you think it is.
Actually, there is actually quite a bit of.
If you go on to the FurWiki page, you can even look at cons that don't even exist anymore.
Right. They have a good comprehensive listing of information and such like that, and even the Fred Patton book of a few years ago. He had passed away during the pandemic. One of the world's long-time oldest furry that we know of. I think he was born in 1940. And
What about those two? I think they're two older ladies that walk around that were at IFC
with the carts?
with the carts.
Those are guys, and they're called the Chihuahua
I
Boys.
feel like a jerk now.
No.
I
Well,
guess it has been 40 years. So
actually, that is a very interesting thing that you say they look like old ladies, which now looking at it, they could.
I feel
they
really-
totally. No.
really bad for saying
No.
that.
That's actually probably spot on.
Oops. No, but I remember them walking around quite a lot.
Right.
And it's weird because here in Wisconsin at this con we have faces of people that are just kind of more iconic than others and people that just stay around at this convention. And then when we went to IFC in Indiana, you can clearly see that there's who those people are there. You know, the kind of people that are
Right.
always well known, no matter however long the con's been going.
And it's just cool to see that with these suits. They pass hands, and then people feel like that notoriety that they got, that they've managed to own and wore a suit from this one maker. And apparently, these suits are collectible. Like they're the most expensive
Fursuit's
classic. Like I guess you would say maybe classic car fursuit.
Okay.
It's a very strange concept, but
So it's like instead of having a Cavalier, it's like having a fursuit that was like made in the 70s or whatever.
it was something like that, and made in the most roughest carpet.
It was made
ever.
in a Russian
gulag,
yeah.
made by a guy who's like, I'm making this suit to make me warm, sort of deal. It was just a really fun thing just to think about that. A lot of these suits do have long lives. We take good care of them as best we can. People compliment them. They have a long-lasting presence in the community. That a lot of, and even for retired suits, people always ask different time periods. Like, oh yeah, that's the classic Dustin time period where when I wore Dustin 1.0 for the most part, until I got Dustin 2.0, I kind of retired him. So he fell away from the usual scene.
You ever seen the videos of Kage with hair from like the very first?
Oh, it's
Anthropons?
amusing. It's like, damn, he's got hair.
Yeah, full head of hair.
He had a full head of hair.
It's weird hearing him from like 30 years ago. That is really weird.
He does sound a little different.
Yeah. Like the first ever Anthropon you ever see a video of him in, it's just like, who is this?
Yeah, it's like they're literally like filming on like a VHS
Yeah, exactly.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like a bunch of people circled around him sitting on the carpet of the floor, which now seeing him sit on the carpet today would be a travesty because he would be asking for a chair. But to be thinking that back then, the very, very cockroach that would be asking for a chair was sitting on the ground telling stories to people.
The very, very cockroach. See, without context, that sounds like we're calling him a very mean name, but his persona is very much so a cockroach.
Kagemushi. I think that is cockroach for like Japanese.
Yeah, and he likes Japanese stuff a lot, doesn't he?
And he does like Japanese.
He was speaking Japanese to some furry earlier
I
today.
think that was
Really?
Chinese.
Or yeah, might have been Chinese. I don't know. I unfortunately I don't know the difference.
Yeah, because I know you. I think you said like ni hao something, and I think that's Chinese.
Yeah, because I think he was speaking to
He was talking with
Alistair.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think Alistair is.
yeah. I think Alistair's. I think he's Chinese.
Not that it matters, but
Right.
No, I was just saying logically that would make sense if it was.
Yeah.
Chinese.
Now I can't help but think of watching an Uncle Kage anime.
yo,
them
there needs to be a
speaking in-
cartoon of that man's life. Like he's a pharmaceutical.
I want to
scientist,
see him
he's a
like
furry.
scream, "Oji, oh, 3-1-0," and just
Could
like
you
him
imagine
like,
him looking like the stereotypical anime villain?
oh. There we go.
It would be like a trio. It would be like Boozy, Kage,
No,
Alkali.
it'd be
They're all just like doing some like continual battle.
Yeah.
But really, it's just bottles of booze in the middle of the table.
They're like throwing shit at each other, demolishing cities for like God knows what
No,
reason.
For booze.
Yeah, for booze.
It's like a meme of like I don't know what anime it is, but like have you seen that meme where it's like the guy and he's like this and his like glasses are like
Yes.
glowing white where he's like sitting on, that would be him. Like that would legit be him.
That would be one amazing anime. I can see Pandez smashing chairs against Alkali.
Alkali would be in it. Oh, this is gonna sound really bad if you don't know anything about Alkali. Alkali is gonna be up in his tower, watching down all the peasants.
Yeah, watching the stocks go up and
Yeah,
down.
so my peasants,
My peasants.
give me your stocks.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Alkali.
Well, actually, that would be the most funniest thing. He'd be-
Alkali's he would be like one of the main villains. He's up in the tower, like a Sears tower, just like throwing down like lightning bolts at the like stocks.
See,
You get a
like,
stock and you get a stock.
You just in the most either the most gayest voice or it's like sparkles as like the lightning comes out of his hand or something like that.
He's like floating around the place. He's like a little pink, like a little fairy. He's like,
He's not-
you.
No, he's on a glass table.
Oh my god.
It's just floating around. I need to be transported somewhere else. It just floats away with a table or something.
We'd have to like make it like just super stereotypical. Like, it wouldn't be an office in whatever, I don't know if he's in the Sears Tower or wherever he is,
Right.
does whatever his job is, but for the story wise, we'll put it in like the Sears Tower, whatever. It was like in the office of so and so instead of like an office. It's like a pad of just like it's like a mansion up there. It's like swimming around like dollar bills.
Uncle Gage's dollar bill.
Like what's the duck?
It's currency, dear boy.
It's
It swims around in there.
Throw it out on the balcony, like, oh, my little windy city people, take my money.
My con is better than yours, and it's just some hidden reference.
I don't even know what car he drives. It's probably something like super basic, I bet, that nobody would expect.
I think his car would be just a jumbo-sized cockroach
He's gonna be riding.
on a saddle.
On a-
Cockroach, anime, cockroach, saddle riding.
We're gonna,
His weapon will likely be a beaker of some sort. He'd be like, "Hold on," and just smash his beaker against
don't
the
forget,
table.
Boozy Badger's in here, so he's got to be armed with a law degree.
That's great.
Like he needs to also be like full of shit. So like when he talks to people about like law, it's gotta be like, dude, you don't know anything. It's gotta like I'm not saying Boozy doesn't know anything. Of course he does. He's a very smart gentleman. I'm trying to say for like the anime. It's gotta be like it's gotta make no sense whatsoever.
Oh, I see exactly what you're going with. Okay. He has like the.
He's like, what do you mean it's a felony?
Oh no, I thought it was so wrong.
I know a legal loophole through this one.
I would say
legal
that
loophole of justice.
I would say that his melee weapon of choice would be his cane.
Oh my.
He
Some
ju-
Peaky
all of a
Blinders
sudden,
shit, like
he
it's
just
like
starts growing muscles and just start just using his cane.
It'd be like
as-
one of those canes that has like a sword inside. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So his cane is his main weapon, and
Or
his
like a-
shield is like his mustache with that absolutely wonderful mustache he has.
Or like a pistol cane or something.
Yeah. Shoots 22 long rifle on the bottom.
And then like Pandez, he would travel for the most part. Maybe perhaps by Maple Leaf.
Oh, is he
Just-
Canadian?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
And then just he would float down, all nice and gracefully, and then he would probably step off the steed that is
the maple leaf.
the maple leaf. There are two holsters. Both of them are like glass maple syrup jars, only the best.
Perfect. He's the only weapons Canadians are allowed to own anyway.
And they're very, very highly effective because fresh Canadian syrup is the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah, it's probably anything better than we get out of the bottles here at Walmart.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, wait. Is it 2 glass maple leaf jars? Or is it 2 trees that have little taps on it that he's carrying around?
That's a good one, but I was
So then
thinking
he would have like
what if he-
giant tree trunks like by his side and be carrying it
instead of
around.
flying in on a maple tree or a maple leaf, why don't he's like the Wicked Witch of the West, but like positive. He's not wicked, he's not a witch, but he's like flying from the west on like a maple tree.
There we go.
You know,
Okay.
like a maple tree, and like and I guess could be you could be using maple syrup as fuel.
That too.
I don't know how you do that, but
The Canadians have probably advanced far enough to understand the capabilities of internal combustion engines with maple syrup. It would be the most flammable thing on the planet. So then it would probably
would it be-
taste like
would-
gasoline.
Oh, okay. Or
Maybe. I'm not sure.
really nasty tasting maple syrup.
Oh, this maple syrup is just made with tears. Oh no.
It's hard to get syrup from trees.
It is actually.
It takes a long time.
To actually be serious for a moment from our like anime world. Actually making maple syrup does take quite a bit of time. But when it comes out of the when it comes straight out of the tree, it tastes a little different.
Yeah.
It's nice and fresh, but it doesn't taste like the maple syrup that we know. It's got those key flavors that make it up for the most part. But you know, as it's being processed, it adds maybe a few other flavors to
Right.
give it that nice classic maple syrup taste. The last time that I remember having any maple syrup in Canada, which was up in far north. It was a lot of fun actually, and we tapped our own tree.
Mm-hmm.
Then throughout the course of the day, we were allowed to keep whatever maple syrup that we would get out of the first bottle.
Mm.
So then, as like a fun little souvenir. So now it was just smashing a tap into the side of a tree. It's like, oh my god, this tree is far too strong for
Can
me.
you just do it like Paul Bunyan does and just a one foul?
He's got some big arms.
Oh, I gotta get out of here.
You gotta get out of here.
We have like less than 4 hours of sleep
You know what? That's absolutely fine. I think
because we've made it an hour so far.
we made an hour. You know what? I think I may even call it. I don't think there's not enough people here. We got poor Joel kind of passed out. Let's see.
I don't even think anybody said anything.
I don't know. Did anyone say anything?
He's just like some morning like.
Oh yeah, because I forgot to send the Telegram link.
Oops.
Well, the Telegram link and the Twitter links just to get the word out. But you know what?
Do you want to be the one that gently wake that him up?
He just like wakes up in the morning like, wait a minute.
Where the hell are we?
I really don't like
I'll definitely have to, because then I'm sure they want to close things up.
Right.
Yeah, I think I could probably say that oh my god, I'm so tired. That I think this podcast can be ended a little bit more shortly. This is the Zooming News podcast live at FurSquared 2023. We at least maybe thought we'd talk some goofy stuff.
Yeah. It was fun.
It was actually fun.
Thanks for having all three of us.
Oh yeah.
We started off as I think like 7, but now we're down to 3.
That's all right. And you know what? That was kind of like the theme of this whole con. Although actually, honestly, the reenacting one was bigger than it was before, so I'll take that as a positive.
More people came in the end.
That too.
I think they were just there because there
For-
was another
for the
panel
next panel.
coming on. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like, hey, I'm gonna feel special just a little.
Maybe in the future, somewhere down those people's lives, them popping in randomly has given them a new hobby to look into.
Or just another panel that they enjoy going to, just for the weird, silly stories.
Right.
Yeah, this is probably a good time for me to like end on this. So I'm Dustin Husky, and this has been another episode of the Zooming Who's podcast. And my current conscious guests.
Kai.
Hello, I'm Corey.
Hello. Hey, Jolt.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, he's fully passed out. I'm gonna have to wake him up. But
He's
that's our guest, Jolt, who's pretty tired. It's been a fun con. We just been up far too late. So anyway, Thank you for listening in. We'll see you next time. To the next episode, hopefully soon.
I'm so proud of you, Hoosk.